In the recent Season 11 update of Call of Duty Mobile, many new features were released. New weapons, a new Battle Royale map, and even a brand new game mode called The Club. We all see The Club as a way to kick back and relax after a hard day on the battlefield, but many have not heard about the secrets that hide deep within this soldier's paradise. Yes, I am talking about Pawn Takes Pawn and the top secret information behind it. I will try to make sense of it all. Who is this guy? What is Zork? What do these videos mean? I will go through all of it. Now, before we get started, if we take a look at my YouTube analytics, only a small percentage of you are actually subscribed, so if you enjoyed this video or if you thought it was interesting, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. It is completely free, it takes less than 5 seconds, and even though it is such a simple action, it helps me out a lot. Anyway, enjoy, and let's get right into this. Now let's talk about Zork. Zork is a text line game played by typing commands into the command terminal. The game was released in 1980 by Infocom, which was founded in 1979, just a year earlier. What got me thinking was why Zork was incorporated into the Pawn Takes Pawn website. Well, for starters, Activision, which was founded less than 3 months after Infocom, actually bought out Infocom in 1986, meaning Activision owns the rights to Zork. Pretty interesting, but that doesn't answer the main question. Why was Zork programmed into the Pawn Takes Pawn website? Zork is about treasure hunting and going on adventures, not about warfare and guns, so Zork doesn't seem related to the COD universe at all. The only reward you get from beating the game is this pink note. My theory is that Zork is a way for users to receive their next clue, and it doesn't really have a tie to the COD universe. Users would have to complete missions in Zork to receive clues about the next steps, but nothing that happens in Zork is related to Call of Duty, let alone COD Mobile. I love video games, you love video games, we all love video games. So on the topic of that, let's talk about Zork again. If we take a look at the 6 VHS tapes we currently have access to at the time of recording this video, the one called Open, Drop, Save, Restore is a reference to the Zork video game and its ability to save at any point in the game by typing in save, and restore the state of the game and go back to that part of the game by typing restore. This is especially useful if you lose your way or if you die. Tape number 6, Perseus is Out There, is also related to Zork because it talks about being underground in the darkness, which is where you spend most of your time in the Zork video game. In addition, after this tape went live, users had to complete even more missions in Zork to receive more clues. Now the 4th tape, With the Lights Off, is actually quite interesting. In the tape, the man talks about how he bought that first-gen gaming console, which turns out to be an Atari 2600. This is because he also talks about how he played and was good at games like Kaboom, Chopper Command, and River Raid, all games which came out for the Atari 2600. In addition, Kaboom was released in 1981, and Chopper Command and River Raid were released in 1982. The Cold War took place between 1947 and 1991, meaning these games were released during the Cold War. Activision has made multiple games for the Atari 2600, but what do you notice that is common throughout all the games the man listed? They are all related to war in one way or another. In Chopper Command, you control a helicopter and attempt to shoot down enemy planes. In River Raid, you control an airplane and attempt to shoot down enemy boats. And Kaboom is about catching bombs and defusing them. And one key thing that I guarantee many people have overlooked, if we wait just a bit longer in the clip, the man says this.
Didn't matter what was going on at school or in the street. In my living room with the lights off, I was a hero.
And guess what? There was a game called Hero released in 1984, and like Kaboom, like Chopper Command, and like River Raid, the Hero video game was released for the Atari 2600 and was developed by none other than Activision. Now comes the big question. Who is the disguised person on the VHS tapes? For starters, we can assume this mystery figure was born around 1968 because, as he said,
I was a kid. My mom had to work 2 jobs and make ends meet. That meant I was home by myself and watched a lot of TV. But somehow she scraped up enough money to buy that first-gen console for my 13th birthday. That saved me. Kaboom, Chopper Command, River Raid, it's too many to list.
These games were released in 1981, and if he was 13 years old in 1981, that makes him born around 1968. On the other hand, the Atari 2600 was released in 1977, so if he was 13 and bought the console right when it came out, and didn't buy the console when the games came out, that would mean he was actually born around 1964. Now comes the 5th VHS tape called Troublemaker. According to this video, the character in all of these VHS tapes is William Bowman.
That game felt so real. Like I was really breaking into government servers somewhere and discovering something that I wasn't supposed to. I guess that's who I was always meant to be. The troublemaker that doesn't know when to stop. Just like my dad. My name is William Bowman. Joseph Bowman was my father. We still got a lot of work to do. I'll see you really soon.
His father, Joseph Bowman, was actually a main character in Black Ops 1. Take a look at this clip right here.
Bowman!
Tired. I just want to end
You
this.
don't mean that, Bowman!
You, Charlie!
Bowman, don't!
You dead American!
Последний шанс. Играй или умирай.
You don't scare me. Communist piece of...
Bowman! Bowman! You son of a bitch!
Next.
What I've extracted from the Call of Duty fandom is that Joseph Bowman was a part of the US Navy and worked alongside Captain Frank Woods and Alex Mason. At one point in time, Joseph and his squad were captured by Russians, and when Joseph refused to play a game of Russian roulette, he was then beaten to death by a member of the Russian forces. It is quite evident that William, although being extremely young, is a hacker, and he is actually the one that works in this dark computer room. My theory is that William is trying to avenge his father by hacking into Soviet computers to get his hand on confidential and sensitive information that can be used to bring the Russian forces to their knees. Now, here is where it all begins to make sense. On pontakespawn.com/killingtime, there is a note, and on that note, there is a very interesting detail. On the note, it reads, Woods and Mason are just killing time, which is actually also the name of the URL if you haven't realized already. Now think about it. What US Navy worked alongside Woods and Mason? Joseph Bowman. And if we take a closer look at the notes, the person receiving it is someone named Angie. And on one of the Pontakes Pawn URLs, Angela is the name of Joseph Bowman's wife and also the name of William Bowman's mother. Another detail that needs to be surfaced, Alex Mason was also captured alongside Joseph Bowman. And David Mason, who is a character that is in Call of Duty Mobile, is also the son of Alex Mason. This could potentially mean that William Bowman and David Mason are going to be working together to try and bring down the Russian forces. Now finally, arguably the biggest mystery is who is Perseus? Well, ladies and gentlemen, get ready because what I am about to tell you is going to blow your mind. Remember those VHS tapes? Well, you might be thinking, well, what do these have to do with Pawn Takes Pawn? And it turns out it's actually a lot. The first video talks about how everything we think we know is not real. It's all misinformation. What happens when that loyalty is betrayed?
What if nothing is quite what it seems? That everything you think you know is just a game? A game of wars and lies, cover-ups and disinformation. We watch and we cheer. We choose sides and pledge our allegiance. What happens when that loyalty is betrayed?
Well, that line right there is quite important. Now, if you beat the soccer mission in the club, you'll receive a note. And at the bottom, it reads, Perseus. Well, who is Perseus? Now, this is where it gets interesting. Turns out if we read the Wikipedia page, Perseus was the codename of a possible Soviet spy alleged to have breached United States national security at Los Alamos during the Manhattan Project. Just to clarify, again from the Wikipedia page, the Manhattan Project was a research and development undertaking during World War II that produced the first nuclear weapons. It was led by the United States with the support of the United Kingdom and Canada. Interestingly enough, this project began in 1939 and ended in 1946. What significant event was going on at this time? World War II. Something else was taking place during World War II in Call of Duty. The development of Nova 6, and you may have heard about Nova 6 from Adler in the club. Now it's a long story, but let me break down Nova 6 really quick. Nova 6 began development in 1944 by German scientist Friedrich Steiner. Now we can confirm this because on the website /point-and-shoot, it reads Kilo 1 were contacted by Project Nova researcher Friedrich Steiner. Nova 6 is a nerve toxin that can kill a human in seconds. Anyway, the original Nova 6 site was destroyed and some Nova 6 compounds were successfully retrieved. After seeing the power of the gas, Steiner, Dragovich, who is a general for the Russians, and Kravchenko, who was a Russian colonel and a character in COD Mobile, were given approval to use the weapon in case of World War III. In 1964, a British chemical engineer named Daniel Clark was enlisted to help stabilize volatile compounds. However, he escaped and Dragovich sent Spetsnaz operators to kill him. CIA agents got there first, but Clark was killed. This brings us to this note right here. This note talks about how Dragovich has been eliminated, but a new threat arises. But besides that, a very important detail needs to be surfaced. This is straight from the Call of Duty fandom wiki. In the Nightmares version of Call of Duty Black Ops 3 campaign, it is revealed that Nova 6 was fused together with element 115, which by the way is Moscovium, to create a mind control serum. Turns out this plan backfired because one side effect of the fused Moscovium and Nova 6 is the ability to reanimate dead cells. What does this mean? It means that this new compound was able to bring back the dead and ultimately create zombies. And why is this interesting? Because according to many sources, it is evident that zombie mode will not come back in the form of a dedicated zombie mode, but in the form of Battle Royale, which we already have in-game. So that is all I know so far about Pawn Takes Pawn, but there are still so many unanswered questions. Why is Zork on the Pawn Takes Pawn website? What do all of these games like Kaboom and River Raid have to do with the overall mystery? What about all those notes and letters and transcripts? What are they for and what do they mean? Are we going to get a dedicated zombie mode? And if so, when? Who is Perseus and how does he affect the story? As it said in VHS tape number 6, Perseus is out there. Know your history or be doomed to repeat it. Many sources say he's the main antagonist in Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, but does he have a secret relation to COD Mobile that currently no one knows about? What really went down in secrecy during the Cold War? What is Pawn Takes Pawn all about? In the very first VHS tape, it says, "We are all pawns grinding away in their simulation, but every system has its weakness." Is this whole Pawn Takes Pawn thing just a game? Everything we think we know is just a game? Do we just keep grinding these missions thinking we are one step closer, but in reality, we just keep moving further away from the truth? And that is the unsolved mystery of Pawn Takes Pawn in Call of Duty Mobile.